SketchUp style modeling is generally a nice and easy way to approach 3D modeling. SketchUp style modeling refers to fast, intuitive, visually clean approach to 3D modeling. It focuses on simplicity and direct editing. It's not just about the software, but a modeling philosophy. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at some of the tools in UModeler X that helps you focus on that perspective. Welcome to Indie Game Hustle. I create videos that are designed to help you learn about new tools and hopefully encourage you. If you enjoy this video, consider clicking the subscribe button and leaving a comment. All right, back to the video. Now, UModeler X has a bunch of tools that really allow you to embrace the SketchUp style philosophy. If you're not familiar with UModeler X's UI, there's two main areas of focus. You have the toolbar up top here, and then you have the inspector over here. Now, to create a UModeler X game object, all you have to do is go to the top at the toolbar, and with nothing selected, you'll see this little gray square here, or this cube, and it has a small plus symbol here. So this is just going to allow you to create a game object. So when you click it, it's going to put you in a mode where you now need to select in the inspector a tool. You'll get a full list of tools in the inspector. Now, the box is probably the most used tool. The box tool creates basic 3D box shapes. All you have to do is just click and drag in the scene to define the base. Then you pull up to set the height. It's ideal for blocking out walls, making furniture, or any type of square or rectangle style structure. Now, the next tool is the polyline. It lets you draw connected lines directly on the surface. Now, each click places a vertex, and then a line forms between them. Now, this is great for sketching paths, creating outlines, or doing custom edge flows. The polyline can be used in the scene or directly on an object. Now, the next tool is the rectangle tool. It generates a flat rectangular plane. You can drag to define its size, or you can use precise values for width and depth. Now, it's perfect for floors, walls, or just like the polyline, it can be used directly on another object to create windows or door openings. Now, with all these tools in combination with the box tool, it will give you some amazing SketchUp style ways you can create different objects. Now, for example, let's quickly put together a tabletop with some legs. All right, so to keep this simple, let's just use a few different tools here to get this done. So the first thing I'm going to do is head up to the toolbar and go ahead and select this here. And that's going to put us in a mode so that we can actually select a tool here. And you can see that by the little floating dot here. So you have that. And then on the right side, again, in the inspector, we need to select our tool. So I'll go ahead and select the box tool. And what I'll just go ahead and do and freestyle it and go ahead and just click and drag out here. And we'll try to make maybe a longer table here. So this is be more like a wood top table, kind of keep it pretty basic, nothing flashy here. Now, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and scale this up or bring it up in the Y. And what I want to do is create some legs. Now, I could create the legs by creating another box mesh, or we can use the rectangle. So what I'm going to do is select the rectangle tool, and underneath here, I'm going to click in the corner of this table and I'm going to drag out. Now, because I know I'm going to put this on each corner, what I'm going to do is drag out, say about here, and then I'm going to go over to the tool properties because it's still selected. I'm going to type in 1 and 1, and that actually looks pretty good from a size perspective. Or maybe, how about we go with a 0.75? 0.75. All right. And then we have that size. Great. And so that's good. So now what I want to do is go back to my rectangle tool and do it again for the other corner. So I'll click, and then I can let it go even at that size. But remember, I clicked in this corner, so that's going to be my 0 to 0 position, and it's going to be from this point out. So I'm going to do the same 0.75, 0.75, and then there you have it there. And then I'll do the same thing here. And so I'll click and drag out, And then I'll just do 0.75, 0.75, and of course, one more time for this edge here. Click, drag out, and then 0.75, 0.75. Awesome. And so now we've created some squares or some rectangles here on the edge of this table. All right, I'm gonna go into the face mode. So in your toolbar here, you're gonna have your vertices, your edge, your faces, and then this is the object. So this is the object mode. We have our faces, so this allows us to select different faces. This is our edge mode, so we can select different edges, and then of course our vertices right here. All right, so what I'm going to do is select the faces, and I want to extrude these faces down so I can create those legs. So I'm going to click and drag each one of those, and then I'm going to click and I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to drag down. Great. And so now we've created some table legs here using some of those tools that we have, and that is great. So that is a pretty neat and quick way to create a table, and that's really just to keep it as basic as possible, just to showcase just how easy it is to utilize the SketchUp Styles tools. Well, let's go ahead and continue. Now that was pretty easy to make. Now if you haven't noticed, there is also a disk tool. We can use this in the same way we use the rectangle tool, but it's a disc shape. So let's go ahead and make a tabletop that's rounded. All right, so the first thing we'll do is go ahead and hide this table here, and I'll just go ahead and turn it off here, just like so, and so it doesn't show up in our scene. And to make sure it doesn't interact with our objects, I'll go ahead and completely turn it off there. All right, so again, we're gonna go ahead and create a game object. And then what I'm going to do, instead of using the box, I'm actually going to use a cylinder. And remember, this concept is the same for all the shapes. Some have a few different properties, but for the most part, they're going to be a similar concept. All right, so what I'm going to do is select this cylinder, and then I'm going to create this here. And then I'm going to pull up. And then we could add some different segments. We can do that. We don't really need to do that. We can also reduce or increase this just like so. All right. And so what I'm going to do now is go down to the disk tool, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag this out here just like so. And so now we have this disk in the middle of this game object here, and I can check that by just kind of selecting this face. And as you can see, we have a flat face there. Awesome. So now what I want to do now is at the bottom of this, using our disk tool, I'm going to go ahead and take this disk tool, and I'm going to create 3 different areas for legs. All right, so I'll click, and wherever I click, I'll let go. And as you see, it's deforming that because it's now part of that object. And now I can check the radius just like before. We can do 0.75 again, or we can do 0.5. Let's see, 0.5, just like that. And then we can click again. And so I'll maybe click maybe right over here somewhere, and then we'll just do another 0.5, and then I'll do it again in this area of the bottom of this, and we can do another 0.5. Awesome. And so now we created some bottom areas of this tabletop, and what I can do is now grab the face tool and do the similar thing here. We can click and hold down shift and drag it down. And so now we have a different type of tabletop here, and that looks pretty cool. Again, the concept is the same. It's just understanding what you can do with these shapes. And I also wanted to just make sure that you knew that you can also take that disk. If we go back to our object mode and take our disk and just click and drag, you can absolutely use this here as well. You can even take it and go beyond, extrude that face, and you can start really getting in here and modeling. All right. Now let's use the pivot tool to center our gizmo. The pivot tool sets the reference point of an object's position, rotation, and scale. You can snap it to the center, the top, the bottom, or even the current gizmo's location. It's essential for precise transformation. It's pretty much my go-to tool. You want to know what else you can pivot to? How about we pivot to today's sponsor? If you've been following the channel for a while, you can tell I really like UMaler X. So it's really easy for me to tell you you should give it a try. Right now, there is a 20% off UMaler X discount code in the description. You get a nice discount on either the personal or the pro plan. So just grab the offer code and head over to UMaler's website to sign up. Now, if you're not sure yet, there is also a 45-day free trial that has all the features. So that's it. Go for it. All right, so let's go back to the learning. Now, another tool that's really nice is the bevel. The bevel softens hard edges by adding extra geometry. You can bevel vertices, edges, or faces by adjusting the width, segments, and the profile for smooth transitions or stylized contours. So let us go and use the bevel tool to add a nice round edge around this tabletop. Now, looking at this edge on this tabletop, you can see how sharp it is. So what we want to do is kind of soften this edge up a bit. It's going to make it look a little better. So what I'll do is go into object mode. I'll then select the edge mode here, and then I'm just going to click and select these while holding the shift key. And I'm just going to select all these edges just like so. Now going back over to my inspector, I'm going to go all the way down right here to this add group and here where it says bevel. All right, so I'll click bevel. Now the initial bevel is going to look like this, but that's okay. So now what we want to do is actually adjust it in the tool properties. So when you select the tool, a lot of times you're going to see the tool properties right underneath. All right, so what we're going to do is go ahead and change that bevel down to something like this. Now I think that might be way too many faces for something like this. So we just want to kind of give it a little bit more roundness to it just so it looks cleaner. All right, maybe that will look pretty good. Let's give it a try and see. All right, so now you see how it has a nice little sheen there. The light hits it, gives a little corner look, a little softer look, and that's us adding a bevel. Now I haven't forgotten about the push-pull tool. It's one of the main features and concepts of the SketchUp style modeling. It's by far the easiest way to create openings like windows and doors on a mesh. Now, using some of the same techniques we used earlier, we can now add the push-pull tool. To get started with this tool, what we first want to do, of course, is go ahead and create a shape. So I'll go ahead and create a box here, and I'll just go ahead and drag this guy out about like that there. And what we're going to do is utilize a couple of different tools that we learned already. So I'll grab the rectangle tool and I'll grab something just like that. And then what I'll do is use the polyline tool as well, and I'll do something like this. Great. All right. And just for fun, I'll go ahead and grab the disc tool and put this just like that. All right. So let's go ahead and use the push-pull tool. All we have to do is head down to the add section where it says push and pull. And all you have to do is hover your mouse over a face just like so. So our goal is to push and pull through there. So our goal is to create a window or some type of doorway or a hole through this mesh. All we do is click and go in either direction. It's almost like using an extrude, but in this case, if we were to go in the opposite direction and push through, voila, now we have a hole in here, and that is really easy. And we can do the same thing on this one and the same thing with the circle there. Awesome, right? And that's really great. So for instance, if we wanted to create a doorway, we could. Let's go ahead and do that. So for instance, if we just go ahead and created this box, and right now it's a box, but say for instance, this was a doorway we needed and we wanted to do that. So we could theoretically, we can go here, take this rectangle and go ahead and create something like so. Great. So now we have this rectangle here. I'll just go ahead and select push pull and push that through. Great. And you can still go and edit things, which is nice. I'll just go ahead and get off of that and go centered and actually change this from normal to global, which is fine. And I'll just go ahead and adjust this because we want our door to kind of be a little uniform on both sides. And of course, looking at all of the different tools that we learned, we can continue to do things. So we can now use maybe like the bevel tool maybe. And now we have a nice doorway, kind of like a rounded entrance there. Looks pretty cool. And we can continue to do some other things. So for instance, if we had this rectangle and I wanted to create maybe a panel here, we can use a couple different tools here, but let's just continue with the push pull. We can either go in or we can go in just a little bit, which is nice, or we can bring it out some. It's completely up to you, of course. And there you have it. So that's the push pull tool. It's really great for these types of things. If there was a window up here, again, if we wanted to do that, UMauler makes it extremely easy to create that type of thing. So if we wanted that here, we could just go and use the push pull tool to now create a little window, and that looks awesome. All right, all done. This of course isn't all the tools, but you can quickly see how easy it can be to use a SketchUp style process using UMauler. I'll definitely be following up on this video to show more ways you can use this style directly in Unity. Now, let me know in the comment section if this was helpful. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on the newest methods and tools. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.